And good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. A major blow to the Penn State football program. The NCAA levied severe sanctions to the Nittany Lions for the alleged cover-up of the Jerry Sandusky sexual abuse case. Among the penalties, a 4-year postseason ban and 5 years of probation, the reduction of 40 scholarships over a 4-year span, a $60 million fine, and the vacating of all the football team's victories from 1998 to 2011. Here in Tuscaloosa, home to a big football tradition, fans are speaking out. Many of them say Penn State brought this on themselves. WVUA's Daniel Sparkman begins our coverage tonight.
With the widely publicized scandal and the magnitude of the crimes, many fans have been watching closely.
People are looking for a solution. I don't think there's a win-win in this. This is a loss for everybody. This is a tragedy.
I think a lot of it had to do with public perception. This was such an egregious case involving Jerry Sandusky, and then the findings showed that there was a cover-up at the highest level with Joe Paterno, the head football coach, the athletics director, even the university president being involved.
The crimes may not have directly affected the game, but fans say something needed to be done.
It didn't have anything to do with performance on the field, but it was dealing with their athletic program, and I felt like they were obligated to do something to protect not only the integrity of the sport, but also the college community and the member institutions.
The penalties include $60 million in fines, the same amount the football program brings in each season.
The amount of the penalty is very, very large, but I do think the fact that it's going into a child abuse program to prevent this happening in the future is a very, very big positive.
And my main concern is about those kids. I mean, and not really the wins and losses, because of what they did, the lack of enforcement for handling that situation. I mean, that's just going to be a small cost.
They're sending a message. They had to make that number big enough to make a difference. And they're sending a message nationwide, hopefully globally.
On top of all these penalties comes a change in the record books, leaving college football's winningest coach with an asterisk by his name.
A man that they held to be an icon who has now passed on. His reputation, his name is blemished and tarnished for eternity. It's really a shame.
In Tuscaloosa, Daniel Sparkman, WVUA News.
So Penn State has essentially been put on life support, sanctions so severe that the football team will essentially be crippled for years to come. Not since Southern Methodist University received the death penalty in the 1980s has the program been hit so hard. And many in the sporting world are wondering why the Nittany Lions did not receive the ultimate punishment.
Suspension of the football program would bring with it significant unintended harm to many who had nothing to do with this case. The sanctions we have crafted are more focused and impactful than that blanket penalty.
The family of former Penn State football coach Joe Paterno also weighed in. In a statement, the family says that the harsh sanctions defame the coach's legacy and are a panicked response to the sexual abuse scandal. The family also says that punishing past, present, and future students because of Jerry Sandusky's crimes did not serve justice. Of course, Gary Harris will have much more on this story coming up a little bit later on in your home team sports. Now to the latest on the Tuscaloosa mass shooting. Tonight we learned that the suspect in the case will have a preliminary hearing in district court on September 7th at 9 a.m. 44-year-old Nathan Van Wilkins of Northport is charged with 18 counts of attempted murder in connection with the shooting in Tuscaloosa and a separate shooting in Northport. Court documents show that Wilkins is being represented by Joseph Van Heist, who is the head of the Tuscaloosa County Public Defender's Office. The Tuscaloosa Homicide Unit is also investigating 2 cases of arson, one in Brookwood and one in Northport. Investigators believe Wilkins is tied to those cases as well. Now tonight does mark the 1-week mark since the shooting spree. So how are downtown businesses finally seeing some sense of normalcy return? WVUA's Travis Leader found out.
The days following last week's mass shooting was difficult for some downtown businesses.
The day after there was, but after that, the weekend we had a fine weekend, with the exception of the media trucks in front of Copper Top, which they could probably leave any time.
One restaurant opened its doors only a couple days after last week's incident. And Glory Bound General Manager Nick Chichester says surrounding businesses are contributing to a thriving environment.
Downtown, just the businesses and all the people have just been so inviting. I mean, everybody's just been such a great attitude towards us.
And with other tragic events occurring after last Monday's shooting, Lloyd is assured the downtown environment is not the issue.
It wasn't a bar or a restaurant issue. It was an individual that had access to an assault rifle, and that's what happened. We saw the same sort of thing in Colorado.
Lloyd is confident the downtown area will continue to thrive in spite of last week's events.
Additional loft spaces that are going in, the additional restaurants, the additional retail, and it's just turned into a very good place to come.
In Tuscaloosa, Travis Leader, WVUA News.
Now to that mass shooting in Colorado. The man accused of killing 12 and injuring nearly 60 others at a movie theater made his first court appearance today. Sandra Endo with our story tonight.
Michaela Hicks was shot in the chin at Friday's mass shooting. She was among the victims and their families in attendance when James Holmes made his first court appearance Monday.
His hair was all orange because he's some freak.
She thinks he deserves the death penalty.
He planned to kill more people than he did. He shouldn't be able to breathe anymore, honestly.
Holmes appeared dazed as he listened to the judge read his rights and give notice no bond would be granted. Jordan Gowie, who lost his sister Jessica, skipped the hearing because he was afraid he might lash out at the suspect.
I don't want to look in the eyes of the man who took away my sister and 11 other lives.
Holmes has reportedly not been cooperating with police. However, they say they have evidence he's been plotting this massacre for months. Prosecutors stopped short of calling it a slam dunk case.
The investigation doesn't stop. It will continue up to trial.
An attorney for the Holmes family says the case must be tried in a courtroom and not through the media.
Again, the family wants to reiterate that their hearts go out to the victims and their families. The Holmes family would like to maintain their privacy.
Holmes is expected to be formally charged with first-degree murder next week. Investigators are still trying to figure out a motive and are pouring through the evidence. Interesting to note, for a 24-year-old, the suspect virtually has no social media footprint. In Aurora, Colorado, Sandra Endo for WVUA News.
We're also continuing to follow a homicide investigation in Northport tonight. 29-year-old Christopher Patton is charged with murder in the connection with the death of 79-year-old Kenneth McDaniel. Now, according to Tuscaloosa County District Court officials, Patton did not request a preliminary hearing, and court documents show he waived his right to a court-appointed attorney. Officials told us that means Patton will go before a grand jury. He remains in jail tonight on a $70,000 bond. Now, last Tuesday night, law enforcement officials found the 79-year-old McDaniel beaten to death at his home off Highway 43 between Charlie Shirley Road and Mitt Larry Road. According to the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, when deputies arrived on the scene, they saw a man, allegedly Patton, holding something like a pipe, but he got away and a police chase began. Patton was taken into custody about an hour later. A former Alabama police officer accused of killing his spouse turns himself in. Former Anniston police officer Fred Boyd surrendered to authorities in Meridian, Mississippi today. He is accused of murdering his wife, 41-year-old Carmela Boyd. Police say Boyd is facing attempted murder charges as well after he also allegedly shot at his uncle in Calhoun County. Fred Boyd was a former Anniston police officer until his resignation in August of 2011. Well, let's pause for a moment and get a first check on Alabama's home team forecast. For that, here's Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott. Richard, good evening to you.
Hey, John, good Monday evening to you. Still mild tonight after temperatures topping out those 90s this afternoon. 82 now in the city of Tuscaloosa, 84 back in Birmingham. And we're all very mild tonight. You're going to stay mild and muggy with those high dew points, and can't rule out a stray shower overnight. Now, we're all dry for the moment. A couple of showers earlier over Jefferson, Shelby counties, but that's been it over the past couple of hours. We have all gone rain-free, and the chance for rain tomorrow for a Tuesday going to be really low. In fact, only about 10% to 20%. 90 degrees by lunchtime temperature, 97 by 4 o'clock. But how hot it's going to get over the next few days? And what about your weekend forecast? Weather straight ahead. Stay with us.
On your home team education watch tonight, the Tuscaloosa County School Board is still searching for its next superintendent. Some board members were hoping to begin formal talks with their hired search firm tonight, but they first have to extend the interim status of their current superintendent, Dan Butler. Now, board member Mark Nelson tells WVUA it is unlikely the school system will find a permanent replacement before Butler's 180-day period runs out. So their next step is to request the extension to the state superintendent, Tommy Bice. Nelson